I'm Elizabeth Warburton and welcome to Season 3 of Property Elevator. In Season 2, we saw many property professionals face the angels to try and secure that all-important funding for their property projects. And this year, we're back for more. Now, we've seen over the last year just how important it is to have your money working for you. With inflation rising and bank interest levels at their lowest in years, it's never been more important to put your money to good use. This is why so many people turn to property investing. It's not easy though. You often need both the finance and the knowledge to take that deal over the line. And that's where our angels fly down to help you. In this show, we give property professionals the chance to pitch their deals to our 5 seasoned property investors. Helen Chorley, John Howard, Paul Mahoney, Ranjan Bhattacharya and Nicholas Woolwork, or who we call our property investment angels. These developers have the chance to walk away with the backing of someone who can bring both the finance and experience to their deal. You're watching Property Elevator.
Hi, I'm John Howard. I've been a property developer and investor for 40 years, and during that time I've bought and sold in the region of 4,000 properties.
My name's Paul Mahoney. I'm a property investor. I also founded Nova Financial Group, which is a property investment advisory company.
My name's Helen Chorley. I'm a professional property investor. I'm also a co-founder of the Property Sisters UK community, supporting women and SME developers in the industry.
My name's Nicholas Woolwork. I'm an investor, developer and owner of propertyforum.com and the development brand Red Brick.
My name is Ranjan Bhattacharya. I'm a property entrepreneur, an investor and developer for the last 30 years. What exactly is for sale here?
And what do we think the net profit is, remind me?
Have you done anything like this before?
But you don't want to be trying to find a cash buyer for more than 700 grand really.
Why is it so cheap? Like I'm confused like how you can have that much just by...
That's why you've got a lawyer.
Yeah, of course.
All this stuff that people try and find out beforehand, I don't worry about
Well,
that.
I've just saved you
That's
5
what-
grand on legal fees, John.
That's what my lawyer doesn't charge me if we don't do a deal.
Welcome to episode 3. Let's see who our first pitch of the day is. Welcome to Property Elevator.
Morning.
Thank you for coming.
That's all right.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and where you've come from today.
I'm Femi. I came from North London in Islington, and I'm here to pitch an idea. It's more about an idea as the type of property that I'm looking for.
Ah, okay, interesting.
So I work within social services.
Okay.
And I want to branch out and work as running a children's home. I haven't got the property development experience, but I've got the social services.
They do.
Oh,
so
yes,
don't worry
exactly.
about that.
So
that's what they're for.
that's but yeah, I bring the expertise of education and the understanding of how children's homes should be run. So
Really
I just
good.
wanted to be part of the change that I wanted to see
That's
in the
amazing.
industry.
Do you know kind of rough numbers, what you're after from the angels? Do you need a certain amount to invest?
From anything from £500,000
Okay.
to as much as they could
Great.
invest.
Well, good luck. I think they'll love that. And I'll have a chat to you when you get out.
Thank you.
We've got Femi coming in next, and Femi's looking to purchase this very large, attractive house. I hope he's going to say he's going to convert it into flats or split it into individual houses in Bedfordshire. Shall we, let's get him in, shall we? Hi Femi, thank you very much for coming in today to see us. Would you like to tell us a little bit the deal that you're potentially looking to purchase and also a bit about yourself, please?
So the deal I presented this morning is, it's more of a template, but I mean, this is a deal available for purchase. It's the idea of the kind of property that I'm looking to.
Well, it might well be the one.
It might be this one, yes. Yeah, I'm working in Islington in North London with social services. I'm a trained in education and psychology. So I have 8 years experience working with supporting children in foster care or at the risk of being taken into care. And what got me into this idea is because a lot of, especially in Islington, being an inner city London borough, about 60% of our children are outside, they live outside of the borough. And about 30 to 40% of those go into children's homes, both children's homes and supported living, like post-16. And I guess for me, there was a bit of there's frustration in how some of the homes are run. You know, maybe the staff are not as well trained. I trained some staff, but I saw that it's something that there is, although it's quite profitable, there's a lot of risks involved as well. But I just wanted to kind of be a change. A lot of us in my virtual school team, that's what we are, the virtual school team. So we support the education of all children looked after in the borough. So I just wanted to. I haven't got property development experience.
No, but that's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine, Femi. That's why you're here. That's absolutely fine. That's not a problem at all. So tell us what your idea is with a property like this.
This is a 6-bedroom property, which could, if it was converted into, if it was a children's home,
yep.
A children's home would be just like this. The more space, the better, because there's lots of activities and things that could be on site. So it would be a 5-bedroom, 4 to 5-bedroom house with an office. Obviously, the house would have to be, for a children's home, it would be Ofsted registered, run by a manager, and then having a provider to procure for the council. Within my borough, I work with the Children's Commissioner. I've been speaking to her for the last few months, and she's fully supporting the idea because she sees the need and the need for trauma-informed trained staff as well.
That's a wonderful thing to try and achieve and do, and we're delighted that you've come to see us today. And all of us will have the ability to help you achieve what you want to do, I'm sure. Just going through the financials a little bit, how would financially, because interestingly, I'm working with a partner on assisted living at the moment, looking to help young adults between 16 and 24 find their feet in different parts of the country, and we've got a company that we're trying to do that. So it's something that would lead on to what I already do, really. So in terms of financially, how does it work financially? Who pays the rent?
So it would depend on if the local authority would lease the house. The provider would lease the house.
Yes.
And the local authority, they will charge the local authority. So on average, I've gone by bare minimum, usually about 4,000 a week for per child. So at occupancy of five young people in the home at 4,000 a week, it would work out to. I also calculated not 52 weeks, I did 40,000 at 40 sensible, weeks. Yeah. So I did at 40 weeks, which would give
Helen will like the fact you've done that, because she's so hot on figures, it's unbelievable.
That would give you 800,000 a year.
And that would be to run the home and everything else.
Yes.
And then out of that you'd pay a rent
you'd pay
the freeholder,
rent,
to us, and you, both of us, or whatever we did.
And staff and everything.
Okay.
Else.
So what would the rent roughly be, do you think, if the turnover was 800,000 a year?
I haven't done that.
Okay, yeah. I'm guessing that would be probably...
Depends how many staff there are. How many staff would you need?
About 3 to 4 staff, at least.
3 full-time?
Yes. Not necessarily full-time, they would take shifts, but yes, full-time.
How many people
on site?
At one
There would
time?
have to be 2.
2
at least.
For how many children?
Well, for all 5, if all 5 children, overnight there would be 2.
Okay,
but
so
during the
2.5 children per staff member.
Yes, yeah.
And I actually know something about this. I've got a good friend that runs children's care homes, and they build them, and they actually have a lease, a long-term lease to the operator, and that operator takes a 25-year lease, which adds significant value to the properties.
It does, yeah.
So I really love this model. I'd like to know what sort of relationship you have with these operators. How many operators do you know, and what sort of contacts do you have within those operators?
I work with the commissioner.
Okay. So you're in the council side, so she would have those relationships.
Yes, so she has those.
And those would be open to you to ask the right questions and get those details if you were to do this. And the commissioner's behind you. You've discussed this.
Yeah, I've
project?
spoken to her, and she's fully supported the idea. I told her, and she's ready to meet people. But yeah, because she gets loads of requests, but she it's not for her. It's more about the staff. That's that's what creates.
And does
the
it
issue.
matter where realistically, this one's Bedfordshire, does it matter how close they are to London or anything like that?
No,
okay.
it doesn't. I just did a random. My sister lives in Bedfordshire, so that's why.
Right. So well, that helps. Yeah, absolutely. A bit
But
of
we've
local contacts.
We've got children's homes that we have young people all over, from St Helens to Glasgow, Birmingham, Oldham.
That's very interesting because, of course, if you pick a slightly, cheaper area of the country, the margin and the return can be obviously much better.
Yeah, yeah.
I was going to say, a 1.25 million house, you'd probably, you could get a suitable house for £300,000-400,000.
It's got lovely grounds and everything else. I mean, you've got to,
It's got to be a reasonable property,
of course,
reasonable size, but probably 1.2 million's probably overkill in many scenarios.
Ranjan, what do you think?
It's not something I know anything about. I just wanted to ask a question. So the Islington will take these properties anywhere in the country, but do you just take kids, does a home just take kids from one borough?
No, they would have kids from.
They can be from anywhere in the country, any local authority that you have a contract with. Okay.
Are there other specific facilities that are needed for the children? And kind of, does that have an impact on any cost that you'd need to?
This just appealed to me because it's huge ground. Some children's homes are just detached, semi-detached houses with a garden. It might not have to be this big, but the potential for, if there was a house of this size, is you could educate the young people on site.
Is five children the sort of sweet spot in terms of you make enough revenue to run it, or is it Quality Care Commission that oversees this industry?
Yeah, it could be 4. It could be. I don't think I've not seen.
Could it be
3.
more than 5?
It could be more than 5. Probably.
What's the biggest you've seen?
Yeah, the biggest I've seen was 7.
Okay.
That was in, I think it was in
4
Oldham.
to 7.
Yes, because they wouldn't want it too large.
Just on the numbers, Femi, is the proposition here to buy a house and let it to the local council, or is the proposition to buy a house and set up a business to look after children?
No, it's neither of those. It's buy the house and lease it to an operator who runs it, and the council provide the tenants to the operator.
Do you need somebody to put that team together?
I understand that the operator already has the team, so they would go in.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is a
like,
property deal
it's
with a
similar
lease.
to the assisted living that I'm doing. I'm trying to do, but for children rather than young adults, basically.
Yeah.
And they need, and these children need more help and more support than a young adult would, basically.
With your council in Bedford, what sort of areas? Partly asked earlier, but with your commissioner, as presumably the boss, is she the boss of the whole area, of a certain area, or just Bedford?
She does the commissioning for all the placements, so it could all placements of children's homes, foster carers, wherever they go, they would do.
Right. So children that come into your borough, she'll place them wherever she can in the country.
Yes. So when providers come to her, they do their check. I mean, they've got some established providers that they use, but I mean, especially with COVID, I know that there's a huge increase, which we discussed as well. Like, there's going to be a huge need. Unfortunately.
I mean, Femi, it's a wonderful thing you're doing, and
Really
I certainly would love to be involved in some shape or form.
I would love to be.
Okay, so it's slightly unusual to come in to see the Angels with this.
Yeah.
But it's certainly got legs, I think, and also all we can really do today is to show you our interest in you. I think the people who might be or might not be, and actually then work with you to find the suitable accommodation going forward. I think would that be fair? I think that's a fair assessment of where we'd have to be. So shall I kick off? They want me to commit first, and then they'll try and do better. You see, that's what they'll do, Femi. Well, first of all, you're very engaging, and you've come today, and what you've said and how you've said it has been great. Thank you very much for coming. Me, I'd love to be involved. I'm very happy to work with you going forward. to find a suitable accommodation and form a company with you where we lease to the provider.
Thank you.
And I know the sort of figures that we've been speaking about. I know that we can afford to maybe not go to 1.3 million this one, but we can certainly buy between, you know, 500,000 and 1 million and make it work. And they lease for 25 years. So in that respect, I'm on board and would love to work with you going forward and see what we can achieve together.
Thank you.
It's kind of difficult for me to say how or why I would be involved, because I don't really have a good understanding of the financials, because you know, we don't have many numbers here. Supported living or assisted living is not something I know an awful lot about, to be entirely honest. I've got a good friend that does that, and I'm happy to kind of connect you there. But yeah, it's a little difficult for me to say that I'd be involved. I'm not sure what value I would bring, to be honest. But I love the concept, and there's absolutely a need for this, like you say. So good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Just to echo what John said, I'd be very interested in being involved. I like the idea of, you know, the social benefit whilst it's still making sense as an investment. Obviously, Helen's right. The numbers, you know, the proof is in the pudding when it comes to numbers. But you know, from the numbers you have said, you know, I agree with John. If you can find a decent sized house for, you know, £500,000 to £1 million on those sort of figures that you mentioned, it sounds like it could make a great investment whilst doing some good at the same time. So yeah, I'd definitely be interested in keeping in touch and helping you make it work.
No, great concept. I mean, one of the areas I tend to add a lot of value to on propositions is planning or permitted development. And one aspect we probably haven't discussed is if you buy a house, of course, there will be a change of use, a planning process to get the usage for a child care home. And that's not something that I've done before, and I wouldn't be able to add any value at all to it. It's a different area of planning for me. So this is not one for me, but it's a great concept.
Femi, don't you worry about getting planning. We'll sort that out.
So residential use class C2 currently, so shouldn't be too hard.
I did look up, so for example, this is a C3, and it could still be used as a children's home.
Yes.
From what I looked up.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
Government website.
I think you're right, yeah.
I mean, I'm in exactly the same camp as John, which is interesting that we agree.
We are doing a deal elsewhere together, so that's probably a good thing.
We occasionally agree on.
We occasionally agree.
I absolutely love it. As I say, I've got a good friend that's doing something similar. I think he's working with particularly disadvantaged children, so it's a very niche area of this sector. And I know that's extremely tricky. It's got a lot of nuances to it. This seems like a slightly easier version of that. And the relationships and the connections that you've got is what we're investing in today, really.
Yeah.
We can bring any property to the table to do that. And I'd absolutely love to be involved in a company with you and to be able to build that on the property side and to find a number of operators. We need to start up those conversations early and potentially, you know, we would look to pre-lease to them on exchange of properties so that the property deal side becomes, you know, completely de-risked anyway. So I'd give you all my time as much as is needed to work with you to build that business as well. And I'd happily work with John on that as well. No offence, Paul.
So, you've had a result today. You've got 3 angels who are
I'd happily
willing.
work with all of you, actually. Sorry.
Yeah.
If that's the thing.
Well, you're sounding a little bit desperate there, Nicholas. So
I'm being generous.
well, is it generous or is it desperation?
Generous.
Femi. So you've got 3 of us. So I think you really need to decide who you'd really like to work with going forward. I was the first one to say I'd work with you, of course, Femi. Bear that in mind. Just take a few seconds to think who you'd like to work with going forward.
One or all of us or any of us.
Well,
well, if you guys
the rules are you could say would you or someone else, one of us, work with each other. Bear in mind, I don't tend to work with anyone else in the Angels.
Don't like to share.
I don't like to share. So I'll be sharing with you. I don't need to share with someone else as well. But that's up to you. So you think about which one you'd like us to work with first, and if you want to get 2 of us on board, then say that, suggest that.
Okay. Like, go it or decide now?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I really like to work with you, and any other, all of you. But if it's 2 people, then I don't know if you could decide who you want to work with.
I've got to decide, have I? So I'm definitely going to be working with you. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
And you'd like me to pick? You'd
Yeah,
like me to work with?
You put words into his mouth, John.
Sorry.
You mentioned the experience, and that's what. So I would really, because I don't have any property development experience, but you know about supported living.
I specifically know about children's care homes as well. I've got very good contacts in that field.
Okay, so will I say the 2 of you?
So okay, so you'd potentially like to work with myself and Nicholas working together to support you and find you properties which we can then work with the provider on. Okay. Well, as it's you, and you're so likeable and decent and kind, I will work with Nicholas if Nicholas is prepared to work with me. And this is a real one-off, and don't think I'm ever going to do this again with any of you.
I got water in my ears today. Am I hearing correct?
But if you'd like to, Nicholas, I'll be delighted
Okay,
to
I'd
work
love to.
with you.
I'd love to work with you.
And help Femi.
I think we'd be a great team.
Yeah. There you go. You've got 2 of us.
Brilliant.
Is that all right?
Fantastic.
2 angels.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Looking
Thank
forward
you
to
very
working with
much.
you.
Congratulations, and I'm sure
Congratulations, thank
we
you.
will.
Thank you as well.
I'm sure we will. Be all 3 of us be successful.
Okay. Thank
Super.
you. Thanks for
And thank you for coming in today.
Cheers.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Femi.
Take care.
Thank you, Femi.
So for me, my fingers were crossed for you outside. Is it good news?
Yes.
Amazing.
I got a yes from 3, and I had to choose.
Congratulations.
I'm so shocked.
That's so great.
Really good.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So who offered?
John and Nicholas. Thank you.
So who did you go for in the end?
John and Nicholas.
So you're doing it with the both of them?
Yes.
Brilliant.
Both of them.
Okay, well,
They agreed to work together as well.
that's nice.
Um,
John doesn't
reluct-
agree to
yes,
that usually,
you
you know,
know, he
so
said-
you've done
yeah,
good there.
Reluctantly, he agreed.
Well,
so,
congratulations,
Thank
and
you.
I can't wait to see how it unfolds
Thank
over the
you,
next few
awesome.
months for you.
yeah,
Wish you
thank
all the best.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
What a nice person.
Wow, what a lovely
It was an
guy.
interesting one, wasn't it?
And I'm already working on assisted living for the 16 to 24-year-olds, which is proven quite difficult actually to do. But
I think some of his kindness rubbed off on you, John.
well,
Killing you with kindness.
People misjudge me. People misjudge me.
Well, prepared to share with Nicholas. That's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
first.
Well, we
It
can.
is a
first, isn't it?
Well, someone's got to do the day work, haven't they, John?
Well, I'm known as a delegator, so Nicholas will be doing all the work. But and you've got contacts in this field
Yeah.
already, and you can see how I've got I was talking to the chief executive actually of Suffolk County Council last year. We had a meeting, and he was saying they spend so much money on looking after children and young adults. No wonder our rates bill keeps going up every year. They just cannot find enough funds. And you can see here, they're talking £800,000 a year for 4 children.
Wow.
My
It's
friend.
just phenomenal. It's amazing what this country does.
Yeah.
It really is remarkable, and the cost of it is just phenomenal.
I mean, my friend built and sold an £8 million portfolio in under 2 years doing this.
Yeah, no. So I'm
Massive profit
I'm
margin.
delighted to be involved, and we're putting and also we're putting something back into society, which is always good.
Yeah,
It's nice.
it's a
thing to
great
do.
investment to
Yeah.
be involved in.
Billy, welcome to the show.
Hi Lizzie, thank you
How
for
are
having
you?
me. I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Good, yeah, really good, thanks. Where have you come from today?
I've come from London.
Nice.
Yes.
How far?
So I live in West London, Notting Hill.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and where you are in your property journey.
I'm a born and bred Londoner. I live in West London, as I said, and
Yep.
I'm a proud father of a cute little naughty 2-year-old boy called Jordan.
Oh.
And yeah, my property journey started. I bought and sold property in the 90s, did very well doing that, and then I went away and did lots of other projects that were successful.
Okay.
And
great.
now I'm like, now's the time to come back, and I'm really excited about this new stage in my business life.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm starting
Brilliant.
today, and it's an office conversion,
Right.
right? It's just on the edge of Shepherd's Bush, Acton, which is
Okay,
a great
so
area,
great area.
right?
Yeah, really great
And
area.
I'm going to convert that into 2 1-beds. Really simple, 6 to 12 months work,
Perfect.
in and out, double your money.
Perfect.
and
They,
it's
they
a-
love a good simple deal like that. So hopefully.
Yeah,
It's gonna
exactly.
be
And
good news.
it's a commercial to residential conversion, which I'm really
Which is always
excited
great.
about. Exactly,
Yeah. Well, good luck.
Thank you.
My fingers are crossed for you. I'll have a chat to you when you get out.
Great, thank you.
Billy, thank you very much for coming today. Can you tell us a bit about yourself and also about the deal you brought us?
So I'm a Londoner, born and bred. I live in West London, Notting Hill, and I'm a proud father of a 2-year-old, cheeky little 2-year-old called Jordan. And I'm presently working in City London as a consultant for a law firm, and I'm absolutely obsessed with property at the moment. I started my property journey in the 90s. I bought and sold property successfully and stopped in 2002 to do other projects. I did music production, I did music festivals, I did create business apps. I'm a serial entrepreneur, basically. And now, right now, I'm really excited to get back into property now and build a portfolio because I just think it's a really opportune time and I just see a lot of opportunity.
And tell us a bit about the deal that you brought us today.
It's an office conversion. It's first floor. It's Askew Crescent off the Askew Road. And it's on the borders of Shepherd's Bush and Acton, which is a wonderful area that I'm really focused on at the moment, around W12.
Yep.
And it's 939 square feet, and it's going to convert it to 2 1-beds.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, and the big uplift opportunity is the conversion from commercial to residential. I have permission from the freeholder. He's quite happy for me to change over the use case there. I've spoken to local planning consultant. He doesn't see a reason why that shouldn't be able to change the class over. No problem.
On PD.
Prior approval and permit development, yes.
And of course, we have our resident expert here for that as well.
Yes.
Just to check that, but I'm sure you're right. I'm sure you're right, Billy. Okay, who would like to kick off?
Okay, so purchase price is 300k, so you haven't bought it yet.
Nah.
This is something that's on the market. So
Yes.
300, what I'm trying to get to is you mentioned permission from the freeholder. What exactly is for sale here?
What's for sale is a lease. I'm buying it from a leaseholder.
Yep.
He's selling it on. It's a
Yep.
retired solicitor. It's been there
Yep.
for 9 years. He bought it previously from the freeholder for 999-year
Yes.
lease.
Great.
Yes. So you're buying a long leasehold interest on the first floor.
Yes.
Okay.
Great.
And you mentioned it's for sale, but you've got permission from the freeholder
Yes.
to convert to residential.
Yes.
Is that written permission, verbal?
Verbal
from
over the
agent?
phone, and he said, a businessman make me an offer, shouldn't be a problem. I'm happy for anybody to live there.
So when you say he's got the permission, but that's subject to paying him a consideration of some kind,
Yes.
is that in here?
No.
Do you have any idea what that's likely to
I
be?
have no idea what it would be. I didn't want to step into that conversation without really working with someone more experienced to do the negotiation.
Okay.
I would expect it not to be a grand amount.
The good news is that you've asked the question and the answer is yes. So that's one of my first questions was, have you got the freeholder's permission? And in principle, you have, subject to a negotiating deal. That's fine. You and I can negotiate that deal, Billy. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, have you done anything like this before?
So development, no. Refurbishments, yes. So this is the bit I'm really excited about. I'm really excited about building a team. I do know developers. I do know builders, and I've been speaking to architects and brokers, and just building a team. I'm really excited
I
about.
assume
doing
that's
that.
where you've got the costs from, the refurbs and everything. You've spoken to somebody about that.
So we're looking at 70k refurb to make it into 2 one-beds. Legal fees around 3,000, and yeah.
And what do we think the net profit is? Remind me.
The GDV is 786.
Yep.
I do need to talk some now, actually. One of the problems...
That'll make a change.
Rude.
One problem or area that you've always got to address, particularly when you're only getting a leasehold interest, you want to divide this into 2 one-bedroom flats. Normally when you buy the freehold, you've got full control to get basically the waste pipe out however you want.
Yeah.
So the ground floor is subject to a long lease, so you've got no rights to go in there and do whatever you like. It seems like the loos and the services are located at one end of the floor plan.
Mm-hmm.
You want to divide it into 2 flats.
Good point.
So one of the issues to identify is, can you actually get from toilets located at the other side of the building? Is there a route, manholes, all the rest of it, so that it's actually feasible?
That's a great question. That's a question I'd put to my builder. In fact, so I looked at 2 options. One is really straightforward, turn it into a 3-bed, single, 3-bed. But I thought it was a greater profit margin on the 2 one-beds, but that would definitely be a question to ask to the builder.
You could always use macerators as well to pump
Yeah,
it.
You wouldn't get it for building regs, not for a 1-bed. They'll let you do it for a second toilet, but you'd have, and it's not that satisfactory.
Well,
For the main
I
loos.
think you made a good point, Ranjan, to be fair.
I'll try now.
But you do, and you've done very well. But I would say that there's probably a way around it. But I agree, you can't go into downstairs. That's a big no.
What is downstairs? What's the unit?
It's a studio at the moment. They make children's toys.
Right, okay. And what is in most of those studios? Are they all commercial, is that, or anything else?
Yeah, so here is, they make speakers, music speakers, and I believe this furniture store, like furniture company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any parking with it?
Yeah, one parking just there.
One parking. You might have an issue with parking. Highways under PD might say you need, I don't know what the regs are in that area, but in our areas it's sort of
Can they?
0.75
Oh, that's
per
interesting.
space. They could say you can't have the PD for 2 units, so you might only get 1 unit with the parking. It could be a reason for them to refuse the PD. They might not. They might want a carless scheme because it's in a very busy area, and that's very likely.
Yeah.
But it is a risk, and it's something you'd need a local planning consultant to look into to understand the council's attitude to the parking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Billy,
Got it.
if we can't do 2 because of their parking, what value is the 3-bedroom flat?
An average of 867 in the area.
But you've got to be...
I think you
That's
wouldn't
better than
get
the 2
that.
one-beds.
Sorry?
That's better than the 2 one-beds.
The problem is, when
Yes.
you get to...
But it's easier to rent out 2 one-beds. I assumed it would just be
when you start doing 3 beds, particularly at the first floor with no outside space, you'll find that your comparables are all based on 3 beds with a little bit of outside space. That's why it's 800 and something like
So
that.
the lower end of the market is 700.
Yeah,
right. Bottom
you
end.
still struggle, I think.
Let's call it
1 bed.
let's call it 650.
Yeah.
Have you looked at the values on a pounds per square foot comparable basis?
I haven't done that way, no.
Okay, well that's always quite useful to do.
And actually, it is, as you noted in the pre-chat, John, that is a large flat. So actually, 700 might be realistic because it's probably 20% bigger than some of those comparables.
I didn't want you to point that out, to be honest with you.
Apologies.
Ranjan, that's right in Ranjan's area.
Sorry.
He knows where this is, and it's within the M25, so
Well,
it qualifies for a Ranjan deal.
It makes a change for...
There's a tube stop there. There's a
And
tube stop there.
there's a tube
Get there.
stop and everything.
There is.
So,
There's a couple.
okay, I'm not...
Couple. Oh,
listen,
don't
How
get him
far
too
is it
excited.
away from the tube?
It's in between Acton and
No,
Shepherd's Bush,
roughly.
right in the middle. I couldn't tell you
Okay.
exactly.
I'm just trying to gauge whether
that's useful, Billy, to know. that.
parking...
That is useful. So, listen, Billy, you're paying 300 grand for it, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay, and we think the worst
It's on the
is-
market for 320, but I think I can get it for 300.
Okay, so we think the worst is 650. Okay, so I'm going to make you an offer. I'm not messing around. I'm always the first to make an offer. Why is that? Is that because I'm more experienced? I don't know. But
Louder.
So I'm going to make an offer. So I don't want to be waiting 12 years. I'm too old to wait 12 years for the deal. All right, to all that. So what I'm suggesting is, you and I put all the money up. We go 50-50. And we refurbish it, buy it, refurbish it, and we sell it. We move on to the next deal.
That's amazing.
That's my offer. Who's going to beat that then? Come on.
What is your planned exit on this? Because you have noted a holding period of 12 years.
Yeah.
He's changed his mind now.
So originally, before I came,
Well, John's
before I
changed his
came in
mind.
front of you guys, I was going to refinance.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And move on.
By the way, if you want to refinance, that's fine. Take me out on my share. I'm
Sure.
very happy to do that. You said, Billy, you can do either. I don't mind. We just buy it, refurbish it. You take me out and keep it if you wish to, or and if we can do two, we do two, probably. But it might be that there isn't much difference between doing one and doing two, because I think if you do one, actually, you probably won't be spending 50,000. It might be a bit less than that. So there may not be a lot of difference between one and two. If we want, and also, property development speed is very important, because the quicker you get done, the quicker we move on to the next deal.
Exactly.
See?
Yeah.
So it's not always about trying to get the very most out of something.
Yep.
But anyway, that's my offer.
Something else you need to be aware of is the noise. They're looking at acoustics for PD apps, obviously,
Yeah.
and being the only potentially residential unit there, they're going to want to hear a sound test between the units below
Yeah.
to the adjacent and possibly on the whole site itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also bear in mind an end lender, if you were to sell this on, so you've got an incoming buyer, an end lender might not like the fact it's in the middle of a business park, mini units, albeit a very small one. I'm not quite sure what's out of sight.
It's surrounded by residential, really
Is
nice
it?
houses.
Okay,
yeah.
good. So it's probably okay, because it kind of looks studio-y,
Bit
funky,
cool.
warehousey,
Yeah.
a bit cool, exactly. So I think it'll be fine, but it's something to, before you exchange on it, get a broker to see if you can get an end loan on it for an incoming buyer at the end. It's all very well developing it, spending all that money, but you don't want to be trying to find a cash buyer for more than 700 grand, really. It needs to be mortgageable, so just double check that.
Brilliant.
It's too small for me, unfortunately, especially if there's two of us involved. But I think it's a cracking little site and makes good money for a nice little deal. So I wish you all the best
for
with it.
you, with all due respect, Nicholas.
I'll leave John to sort of mop up my scraps.
Fighting talk.
Fighting talk, that is.
So it seems very cheap.
Yeah.
Purchase price
Yeah.
for that kind of size of property. You've got like £319 a square foot, but you think when you'll have done it and be selling it, you'll be selling it at £798 a square foot.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it so cheap? Like I'm confused how you
Yes.
can add that much just by.
Yeah, so I've looked at it, and that was one of the first things I thought to myself, why it's so cheap. And a couple of reasons. I think because if you buy it as a commercial leaseholder, and if I was to then let it out,
Yeah.
I can only charge 11,000 per annum. It's really low rental, so there's not much return as a
So the
leaseholder.
seller's selling it with commercial
Yeah,
or like office
completely.
pricing
Yeah.
in his mind, retail
Yeah.
pricing in his mind
The
rather
guy's
than resi
retiring,
pricing.
he just wants to get
Yeah,
rid
I
of
mean,
it.
we,
you know.
every deal we find, Billy, this and going forward, hopefully, we'll have an angle, and that is the angle. You know, that is the angle. Otherwise, we never do a deal if there wasn't an angle.
Yeah.
So
And also, some of these units are 2 floors as well, so ground and first floor.
Yeah.
So he's thinking maybe because it's half, it's
Yeah.
giving half the value. You see what I mean? But square footage is still 939.
Have any of those other units in that parade been converted to residential?
No, but the interesting story about this this whole development area is it was previously residential. It used to be home to armed forces. So the retired servicemen used to live there before it was converted into commercial.
You also need to be careful of just help you guys out a little bit more.
oh, thanks. Yeah,
That's
We
all right.
need your
Just, I
help.
don't want you getting into trouble, John.
No.
There could be a covenant on the building
That's
for
what
the
I was
whole
getting at.
estate.
That's what I was getting
So you
at.
need to make sure
because
that's not on there.
the warning sign, as I'm sure Nick is picked up on, is that description on screen, unit available. And sometimes you tend to find that within that whole parade, there'll be some kind of restrictive covenant preventing.
Billy,
Yeah.
do you know what
But
I do?
That's,
I've got a lawyer. That's why you've got a lawyer.
yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
All this stuff that people try and find out beforehand, I don't worry about
Well,
that.
I've just saved you
That's
£5
what-
grand on legal
That's
fees,
what
John.
my lawyer doesn't charge me if we don't do a deal, because I do
did-
so many with them.
I
So
did
at the end of the
discover-
day, it's
sorry.
not a problem,
Go on.
Billy. Don't worry about it.
No, I did discover there was a covenant. It was it was based around the servicemen that lived there. There had to be someone like them living there.
Okay.
Great, okay.
That was
Okay.
So no
well
covenant.
done, you. 'Cause
Well done
I
for
wouldn't
John.
have even
Well
thought
done.
about that. So
That's a
Yeah.
Good thing to pick up so early on.
Good. So, I want to get this deal nailed. So, who else wants to bid on this?
Yeah, I like it, but I don't know if I can beat you. I'll do the same thing and give you 55% profit.
That is clever. I have to say, that is clever.
Wow, Billy.
You weren't expecting. I wasn't expecting that. Ranjan, not how we fixed.
I think you guys are missing something here, and I think it's a bit of a can of worms, because I'll tell you why. I think the problem you've got in this one is that the freeholder will want his pound of flesh. And when you have to submit to him plans of what you're going to do, and he's just going to look at those plans and say, okay, these flats or flat is worth this, I want this. And you tend to find that sometimes it's just not economically viable.
No, well,
the profit is sucked up.
He might do, Ranjan, but he might not. And if we all had that attitude, we get no
if
deals
that
off
was
the
bottomed out and presented.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is,
we know what
you
we're
know.
dealing
Yes,
with.
I understand that, but he has found out that who the freeholder is and that he's willing to do a deal. If ultimately it's too much, okay, we don't do it. We move on. Billy finds another deal. I'll do the next deal with Billy. Thanks very much. And you will have missed out, sir. But that's up to you.
He seemed like a really nice guy. I had a really good chat with him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about
quite reasonable.
connecting. Billy's experience in life and general. You know, he's gonna. You don't have any problems. I'll tell
There's
you
always
now.
some unknowns at this stage, right? Yeah. If
course,
that kills the
and-
deal,
and
that kills the deal.
And it's
You
so
move on to the next
subject to due diligence and all the rest of it. But thank you for your advice, Ranjan.
I couldn't offer you anything better than the chaps have offered you, so I'll let them fight it out.
Thank you.
So you've got two choices. You've got an Australian or someone English. Now, that should make no difference to you whatsoever,
And that's
because
the
he is Irish
only
as well.
difference.
He's got Irish blood in him as well. So it's entirely up to you. It's 50% with me, and it's more with Paul. And if you go with Paul, you would. I have to be honest. You'll have a very, very good partner in Paul, and he owns a lot of property, does a lot of deals, and I'm not. You know, he's offering more, so that's entirely up to you which one you want to go with. If you want to go with either of us, of course, you might decide you want to plough along on your own.
I've made my decision already. I'm going to go with you, John, please.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for your offer, Paul.
That's all right.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
very much, Billy.
So Billy, are we doing a happy dance?
Lizzie!
Yes!
I'm so excited. I can't. I'm bursting at the seams.
Amazing, so you got a deal then.
I did.
Tell
yes.
me, who'd you go for?
Working with John, I was sold by. He mentioned speed, and he wanted to get going straight away. And let's do the deal. I was just like, yeah, speed is everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And did you have any other offers from anybody else?
I did.
Did you?
I had a slightly larger offer from Paul, which I did
Okay.
consider,
Yeah,
but it was the speed from John that sold.
that sold you.
Yeah.
Great,
Yeah.
so what's the next step?
Oof. Well, this is the beginning of my property, portfolio, which I'm really excited about. So this is my perspective, right? The more successful I become, the more I can give back. So I can show other people how I did it,
Okay.
right? So one of the things that lights me up the most is making a difference for people.
Yeah.
So if I can coach somebody else on
To
being
do
just
that.
as successful as I am, then I'll die a happy man, basically.
Awesome. Oh, that's really, really great. Well, good luck. I'd love to come and check it out because I'm only around the corner.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Definitely. And thank you so much for coming all this way today.
Thank you so much for having me, Lizzie.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
I think he's really investable, isn't he?
Very
Yeah,
investable.
yeah, he's
very,
really
very,
that's the
very
point.
likeable.
Yes.
And knows the area well. And I want to do more in London.
Yeah.
So actually,
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah.
Good
that
local.
will sell. The risk is it's the first one. The rest will be developed as residential. Clearly, probably it is the first one, and that is a bit of a risk. But if it is residential round it, we take a little bit at that money. You can take a bit of a view. I know it's too small for you,
Yeah.
Nicholas, but.
No.
And if anything comes up, it just doesn't happen. But if it does happen,
Well,
it's pretty good.
exactly, and I think I think I can work with him, and I think he will find more deals,
You know
and I think he'll listen as well.
what you could do is if you get that deal, you can get it through.
Yeah.
Is you go and knock on everyone else's door down there and just offer the same
Oh,
deal.
Nicholas, I never thought of that.
No,
Thanks.
Don, there's a sourcing tip for you today.
Thanks. I needed that tip.
Wow, what a day. This series has shown that opportunity really is everywhere in the UK for people and their property investment journey. All it takes is hard work, determination, and sometimes a little bit of help from our angels. We'll see you next time on Property Elevator.